You are now listening to the Fantasy Whisper podcast with your hosts, Johnny Game Time Hicks and Big Travy.
Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Whispers special Mock Draft Monday live, coming to you guys on Facebook Live. Travis, I'm really pumped for this show, dude. We're gonna give them a little bit of taste about what it's like to be in the war room, what we're thinking about. We got a bunch of actual drafters from the Fantasy Whispers. They help us out here. So this is going to be fun. I mean, there's a couple of still computers in there, so that way we get that random, because you always have those, players in your league that aren't as fantasy educated and they're not as smart as you are for listening to us. So they make those boneheaded picks, but that's not going to be you guys.
That's right. We got a couple buddies we asked to get on. And if you guys are interested in mock drafting with us, go ahead and comment below or share the video and talk with us about which kind of league, which kind of style you'd like to do. Of course, we're going to be going live tomorrow for our regular episode on Tuesday night. But tonight, we're going to have a little fun with our friends and do some mock drafting. Johnny, let's get into this.
All right. So we're doing a 12-team half-point PPR draft. Your standard quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, a flex, a defense, and a kicker. And yeah, all right, let's get into this. You guys can follow along with us. If you have questions about a pick that we do, or you want to ask us or ask some of our other experts that are drafting with us currently a question about a pick, shoot it up. We'll put it on the video. And all right, let's get into this. All right, so with the first pick, whoa, that was a little strange. In a half-point PPR, we had the very first pick be Ezekiel Elliott. A little confused by that, but I'm going to go. I might be a little confusing here as well. Le'Veon Bell, and I kind of want to just explain this a little bit. Le'Veon Bell, to me, is going to be better than Todd Gurley this year. Todd Gurley was the number 1 pick last year, or number 1 player. It's rare that they repeat. And with Le'Veon Bell, we heard it today, didn't get that full-time extension contract that we wanted. So I do expect him to really try to run hard there.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell should be on the top of your boards. I don't know why Zeke would go against either go ahead of Le'Veon Bell or Todd Gurley here. Computer was a little wacky, but like we said, these happen in real life. You get that guy who's had a couple too many beers at your draft, and he drafts just a little bit crazy. So Zeke Elliott goes there. After Todd Gurley was David Johnson, Antonio Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt. So like we said, we got a few of our buddies in here. You can kind of see them with their names.
We got credit. Travy is my man crush Monday.
That's right.
Or mock draft Monday.
Maybe he typoed that, but I think not. I think that was supposed to be Man Crush Monday.
I believe that as well.
Just DM me credit.
All right. So Leonard Fournette went right before you, Travis. What are you thinking here? You're right here on the turn. You get 2 back-to-back picks here.
Yeah, I'm just really excited right now. One, for the reason that Melvin Gordon has kind of slipped down here. So I'm going to snag Melvin Gordon up. We know he is bell cow production. And then I'm going to turn around and get a guy I'm super excited about. I think everybody knows, and that's Odell Beckham Jr. So I just think he another guy that's poised for a big year. He comes back from the injury. Pat Shurmur has taken over that offense. And he's in a contract year, Johnny.
Yeah, I like the Odell Beckham, especially if you pair him. I think we've said that on a previous mock draft Monday. Being able to pair Odell Beckham with Melvin Gordon, I think that's a great combo. I do think it's interesting, Travis, that in this very first round, it is a PPR, but yet 10 of the 12 picks were all running backs. A little bit interesting there. I thought maybe one more wide receiver would sneak into the top 12, but maybe not.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that there's a case for OBJ to be in the first round. I mean, obviously, I could have taken him either one with the back-to-back, but ahead of Leonard Fournette, maybe. Kareem Hunt was a little high there too, so we'll just see kind of how this plays out if he's able to get worked more into the passing game.
Mm-hmm. And we have still yet to hear anything about a suspension. All right, so right after you went Julio Jones, then Jordan Howard at the third spot in the second round. Even though Jordan Howard isn't very good at PPR, that is an interesting pick.
He's got the most drops of all running backs within the last 2 years. Not a good sign for points per reception if you can't catch.
No, not at all. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Jordan Howard in a standard league, but in a PPR, it's a little risky there. But I'm pretty excited right now because Run CMC has fallen to me in the second round. And man, I was really hoping Mike Evans was going to swing back around, but he didn't. So I'm looking at Josh Gordon, Tyreek Hill, or T.Y. Hilton. I do like T.Y. Hilton, but you know what? I like the prospect of having LaShawn McCoy as my third running back in a PPR league. I know it's risky. I know he might be suspended, but at this very point in the league and the season and the offseason, it's looking like he's not going to be. But we don't know about the NFL because they are super random. But at this point,
Johnny Hicks with the most controversial pick of this mock draft.
So far. I told you there was going to be drama. I told you there was going to be drama.
A big drama here, Johnny.
So right after LaShawn McCoy, Aaron Rodgers, first quarterback off the board.
Brett Johnson grabbing quarterback in the third round here.
And then followed by Adam Thielen, then T.Y. Hilton. So that fourth spot went Antonio Brown, A.J. Green, T.Y. Hilton. Travis, we've talked about this, this scenario and going wide receiver, zero RB strategy. In PPR, this kind of makes a little bit more sense. You're looking at potentially 3 number 1 wide receivers to start off. It will be interesting to see how many more running backs go.
I'm going to hold judgment there on that team, on team 5 there, until we see what they're able to accomplish running back wise after going that upside down there. As Lindsay says here, we throw her comment up there. She just called a reach on Hannon's Joe Mixon here.
Throwing shade.
Lindsay coming in with the fire. So after Joe Mixon was Darius Geis, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and we're waiting on this team 10 here.
So it's kind of interesting, Travis. We got a couple of different types of strategies that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Here at that ninth spot is kind of like the 3 elites, essentially. You and I both like Travis Kelce, and so they grabbed Kareem Hunt in the first, Devontae Adams in the second, and Travis Kelce. All 3 guys we are pretty high on. So
yeah, I would say that this is more of like a poor man's 3 elites, if you will, just because we're not sure that any of these guys can sustain elite status the whole year, except for maybe Kelce, who has done it before. But yeah, I don't particularly mind that.
All right, so Travis, what are we thinking here?
I'm going to take a look here.
We still have Derrick Henry on the board, the guy who I'm pretty high on, but I know you don't necessarily like him, Travis.
Just call me out, man. Yeah, I am actually.
Oh no, Lindsay commenting that was for Aaron. So
the reach she said was for Aaron Rodgers.
Huh? Aaron Rodgers. Okay, that makes a little bit of sense there. Let's see if Brett has any response to that. We'll throw it back up. Oh, here we go. He does. He says he scores the most in the league. It won't be.
It won't be a reach. Saying he's going to pay off that third round pick. I mean, if you're Brett Johnson, you're looking at some of the guys that went after him, and you're going, okay, I have Todd Gurley, I've got Keenan Allen. Do I need to take a wide receiver or running back here? Why not finish off, maybe his own play at 3 elites here? Definitely 2 elites with Todd Gurley and Aaron Rodgers. And I think we both believe that Keenan Allen can be in the top 5, especially this year. Especially this year, you look at Hunter Henry going down. Like, that's definitely a possibility. So just to recap what I did over here, I picked Derrick Henry, as we talked about. I think he's going to be productive if he can stay healthy, stay on the field. He'll probably win the job outright, be the higher carry back in Tennessee. And then I went Juju Smith-Schuster. Martavis Bryant's finally gone. No more drama there. And Juju is just that typical Hines Ward player that the Steelers love, especially Big Ben. So.
And then what do you think about the pick after you, going Josh Gordon right after you?
Not surprised here, mostly because Matt, who made the pick, is a Josh Gordon fan. But I like the Josh Gordon pick. I debated between Josh Gordon and Juju Smith-Schuster. I think for me, the problem with Josh Gordon is he may not get the target share that we would want him to get out there with Jarvis Landry. That's also there. Corey Coleman will be back healthy. Yeah. The backs are worked into the passing game.
I think it's a different situation than what we saw. I'm going to make my Brett's up, but since Brett's up, we got a feud going on. Lindsay threw back here more value at quarterback later in the draft. So she's been watching the Fantasy Whispers, and she knows all about this. So she's not just gonna take the punches here; she's throwing them right back at Brett. So
I love it.
This is great.
I love it. She's been doing her homework.
So Lamar Miller comes off the board.
Wait a second. I got to call Brett Johnson out for this. I believe a few episodes back, he said there'd be no drafts in which he'd take Lamar Miller. You'd never find Lamar Miller on his team. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard.
I would recall that same theory here. All right. So sorry, go ahead, Travis.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I get it. I get it. Brett Johnson, Lamar Miller's there in the 4th round. You got to take him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's there. I mean, you know what you're going to get, as opposed to you're looking at guys like Kenyon Drake, Alex Collins, Rashad Penny. You don't necessarily know. Lamar Miller did not have a game last year where he didn't have more than 14 carries. So 14 carries was his absolute minimum. That is good production, especially in fantasy football.
So
that's great. Go ahead. Go ahead, Johnny.
All right. So I took Amari Cooper there at near the end of the 4th round. I needed a wide receiver. I've already drafted 3 good running backs, especially for PPR. And so I think that Amari Cooper could be, we've talked about it, could be that number 1. He could have a bounce back. And then here, Travis, I'm thinking.
Talk to me.
I'm thinking Marvin Jones here to fill out my back-to-back wide receivers. However, there is a gem here, and I don't have to necessarily wait on him. I'm gonna draft Mark Ingram here. I know that's kind of crazy in a PPR league to have 4 running backs, but I really think that the depth at wide receiver this year is pretty significant. And so I like a lot of guys that are going a little bit later in the draft, and that I could draft between round 6 and 10 that will be pretty solid wide receiver 2s. And that's essentially all I'm looking for here, with the upside of Amari Cooper as potentially being my wide receiver 1.
So I got to come back here to talk about a team that just picked, and that is team 5. We were talking about that upside down strategy they were implementing. They went even more full upside down. They got Larry Fitzgerald as their 4th wide receiver here.
Just hashtag stacked at wide receiver.
You can only start 3 of them.
Hey, so I might be making a call over after this draft over to the team 4 and saying, hey, give me one of those wide receivers.
Yeah.
I'll trade you for one of my running backs here. I was really, really kind of hoping that Demaryius Thomas or Alshon or Larry, one of those 3 guys would have fallen to me. I would have felt a lot more comfortable drafting one of those guys as that number spot,
as opposed to Amari Cooper.
Yeah, as
then talk to me why you wouldn't go Allen Robinson over Amari Cooper there, Johnny. What's your thought process? Is it the injury? Is it Chicago being maybe a less potent offense? Tell the people why you went with Amari Cooper.
I think you'll see a little bit later on in this draft why I went Amari Cooper over Allen Robinson. I like Allen Robinson a lot this year. My major concern there is the quarterback, right? I liked what I saw out of Mitch Trubisky, but Derek Carr is the more effective wide receiver or quarterback. And like you said, I'm gonna believe the hype a little bit, and I'm going to say that John Gruden is going to get Amari Cooper the ball in more areas of the field than he has before. So I took the upside. I think
okay.
Amari Cooper has the higher upside. I think Allen Robinson has the higher floor. And it's a mock draft. I haven't had a whole lot of shares of Amari Cooper, so I kind of want to see what that looks like, which is, the main reason why we're doing this mock draft is to see what our teams are going to look like. Practice makes perfect, people. Practice makes perfect. And sometimes you just got to mock it up, dude. You got to get down and dirty with some of these mocks. And
whoa.
Hey, we're after 8:00. We can say a little bit.
Yeah, mock after dark, dude.
Mock after dark.
Johnny, all right, so after whisper sweet nothings in Amari Cooper's ear over there.
Yeah, I hope whisper. Oh, a little
whispers. Exactly.
All right, so right after me, Brett Johnson took Dion Lewis. He went back-to-back running backs there after essentially trying to go with that 3 elite strategy to begin this draft. And then you had Golden Tate come off the board, Sony Michel, followed by Russell Wilson, the third quarterback already coming off the board. Then Royce Freeman, followed by Brandon Cooks, Chris Hogan, then Ronald Jones the second, your boy, Jimmy Graham coming off the board in the 5th round, and then you went Marshawn Lynch, and then you've got the turnaround here. So I know that that hurts. That hurts. That hurts.
Well, I'm glad I can upset somebody, but no, I took Marvin Jones here as my 3rd wide receiver, a guy that I think is the number 1 option who can stretch the field in Detroit. I mean, Matt Stafford loves this guy, and why not? Marvin Jones had a breakout year last year. He averaged the best yards per catch average in the league last year with 18.6. And then I picked up Marshawn Lynch right before that. I just think if I'm going to get a 3rd running back, I'm going to get a guy I know what I'm going to get. I know they brought in Doug Martin, but if you look at Marshawn Lynch's numbers last year, he was one of the better running backs before contact and after contact last year. So I'm a big fan of Marshawn Lynch. I think he comes in and wins the job there, and Doug Martin, continues his ineffective ways.
Yeah, I love the Marvin Jones pick, obviously.
So I got a little bit of so Brett Johnson wants to know here. He has a question. RW isn't a reach, basically talking about Russell Wilson, and he wants to know why that isn't a reach by Chris Hannon in the last round. And I would just say this. I think that Hannon waited. He stacked 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and then he was able to grab a quarterback who we think could probably compete with Aaron Rodgers at the top of the list. So he gets one more skill position than Brett Johnson does there, and then is able to do it. So as opposed to, I'm not a big fan of maybe Kenyon Drake where he got him.
Yeah, that was the only thing I would
that's
say.
Probably what throws off the comparison between the 2 teams. But I think if he would have picked a better running back here with that 4th one, he gets a better shot at a better running back with the elite quarterback play.
Yeah, I would say the only we're still kind of early in this draft, but I like Alex Collins more than Kenyon Drake. And then we're going to talk about it tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow, a little whisper about something that we're going to talk about. But Kenyon Drake, and then there was some news that came out today about Alex Collins. And so I actually have moved up Alex Collins, a couple of spots, even in a standard league or a PPR league. I just think that that's the only pick. But I totally agree with your assessment. You're talking about Russell Wilson, who's going to be playing from behind a lot.
Yeah,
and you get
like Brett Johnson says, Seahawks don't have a defense. That should play well right into Russell Wilson's value.
Right,
exactly. The fact that he's going to have to be chucking it, like Johnny said, he's going to have to throw the football a lot. All right, Johnny, you're on the clock here. You got to follow up that Mark Ingram pick.
Yeah, so I'm looking at wide receiver here. I think this is where I want to pick up one. So a couple guys on mine here. So Michael Crabtree as the number 1 in Baltimore is interesting. Former teammate of Amari Cooper. He still has elite talent. When you look at Matt Harmon's reception perception, he's really good at catching the ball. You've already heard the noise coming out. Another guy that I'm kind of looking at here, and I've got I've got the computer coming after me, so I kind of say this, and I'm going to go with another wide receiver here. I'm going to go back to back, 6th and 7th round, and to me, Randall Cobb is a guy. I know this is going to be a little bit of a reach here, but I do not think he will come back to me in the 8th round. So I'm okay with reaching a little bit, and especially with the wide receivers that I have, I like the upside of Randall Cobb. I think I'm going to need it with my wide receivers that I have. So give me Randall Cobb there in the 7th round.
Yeah, it's not a reach if you don't think you'll get him on the turn. Not going to lie, I'm sure I would have looked at Randall Cobb there.
Yeah. Des Bryant coming off the board in the 7th. Travis, do you think that's a little bit of a reach? He doesn't have a team. I don't.
The only thing I would say is I don't mind it if he's not your second wide receiver, Brett Johnson. Man, if we know anything, Brett Johnson's had a few beers here.
Yeah,
Brett Johnson is doing his old patented drunk drafting.
Do not drink and draft, people. Leave that to other people. Oh man, Lindsay's coming back at him right now.
Fire.
Des Bryant. Is he on a team, Brett? She's just so. And then, Brett's coming weeks away. This is true. I do believe, in defense, I do believe that Des Bryant will have a team. However, my concerns do extend with more than just finding a team. We saw him last year. I don't know if Travis, have you gotten the time to watch All or Nothing yet? They did it on the Dallas Cowboys last year. And this was backed up in Matt Harmon's reception perception. But Des Bryant is not a very skilled wide receiver when you're looking at his techniques. He drops a lot of balls. He's a big, aggressive receiver. Don't get me wrong. I love the energy he brings.
Red zone threat. And there's times he can stretch the field. But you're right. If he's blanketed, he's not going to get as many catches. And here's my thing. I'm fine with you taking Des Bryant if maybe you had some depth at wide receiver. It's not that I don't think he'll be on a team, Brett Johnson. It's that maybe he is on a team that has other weapons that end up being better than him. So you can't guarantee any kind of volume right now taking him where you're taking him. And you drafted him instead of drafting, a guy on a team. That's the bottom line.
He came back with he has more elite upside than Cobb or Watkins.
Cobb, yes. I don't know about Sammy Watkins.
Well, I would disagree with this 100% because we know what Randall Cobb has Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. Des Bryant has a ghost throwing him the ball right now. So 100% saying, but even so, you look at the teams that would possibly bring him in. Now, I will say if the Arizona Cardinals bring in Des Bryant, I love that move. And I think that then in that case, he would be able to be a solid, productive wide receiver because you have Larry Fitzgerald there taking targets or coverage away from Des Bryant. He's now going to be getting the second or third best corner. But at this point, the teams that are looking at Des Bryant, they're not the best teams. I'll just put it like that. So we already know what kind of wide receivers Aaron Rodgers produces. But let's get back to the draft here because I think we've rambled on a little bit. So Sammy Watkins went right after Des Bryant. Then Cam Newton fell all the way to the 7th. Now, secretly, this this for computer is very intelligent because I'm liking what he's putting together here. That was followed by Carlos Hyde, then Will Fuller, back-to-back quarterbacks and Drew Brees and Kirk Cousins. Jordan Reed came off the board in the 7th round. Then Chris Thompson, which I really like that pick right before that, your pick, who you picked Aaron Jones. Travis, you want to talk us through your 2 picks here?
Yeah, so Aaron Jones is a guy that I think is probably the best overall running back in the Green Bay backfield. I think he's the one that can run and catch and block all, he does it all well mixed. Whereas, Ty Montgomery is a better pass catcher. Jamal Williams is a better one-cut runner. They are more specialized. Whereas Aaron Jones, I feel, is the rounded out guy that can win this backfield and take off with it. And we know what a number 1 running back on a Green Bay high-powered offense can be. It's up there. It's good. And then Cooper Kupp. So for me, I think it's worth the risk. I already had 3 running backs. I already had 3 wide receivers. So these guys are some dart throws. Cooper Kupp is a guy that led the Rams in targets, led the Rams in receiving yards, and led the Rams in red zone looks. So he's definitely a favorite of Jared Goff. And, I know they brought pieces in, but they also let Sammy Watkins go. And I think Cooper Kupp is a red zone guy that could actually return some good value.
All right, right after you, Travis, went Duke Johnson, followed by Kerryon Johnson, which is a little bit interesting. Duke Johnson went before Kerryon Johnson. I know that we will be possibly speaking about Kerryon Johnson and Duke Johnson tomorrow. What would you put them in that order personally, Travis?
In a half-point PPR, I think I have to, because we have Duke Johnson's role defined in Cleveland. They paid him money as such. They know they're going to bring him in as their pass-catching back. Kerryon, I love his speed. I love his talent. I love his physicality. He's an Arian Foster-type back, the way he runs upright. But we don't know. I mean, they got LeGarrette Blount there, and LeGarrette Blount isn't necessarily just gone, and I don't see him going quietly. So does Kerryon win this job eventually? I believe so. I believe he's the better talent. But Duke Johnson's role is defined, so I don't mind that pick. And back-to-back, those are really solid pass-catching backs that affect the head, or our buddy Matt was able to snag here.
Yep. All right, and then Rex Burkhead went, followed by C.J. Anderson. Then Jimmy G came off the board. Then Pierre Garçon, followed by Jamal Williams, Robbie Anderson, Jordy Nelson. And now I am up on the clock. And Travis, I'm going to go take a gander over here at what we've got. Still some guys there. All right. I am going to go wide receiver. I'm going to go back wide receiver here, and a guy that I like I'm going to actually go Julian Edelman. Now, I understand he's suspended for the first 4 games, but you're looking at a number 1 guy when he comes back. And I think I have the wide receiver depth to sustain his suspension. Now, I do have 2 guys on suspension, so it's very critical that I start the league or the year off on a strong note. Because if I can, in the first few weeks, if I were to go, 2-2 or 3-2 or 3-1, and I'm getting those guys back, my team could be pretty stacked. And then
we got Matthew Potvin says Tom Brady was an auto draft.
Oh,
and we know, hey, this is just another reminder. If you guys aren't live drafting, or if you are live drafting with a time limit, but if you're on an online draft, pay attention. Have your research done. Listen to the podcast. Listen to these mock drafts. Watch the mock drafts. Have your articles ready. Be ready to pay attention and make quick decisions based on the flow of the draft, so you don't end up like our buddy Matthew Potvin here, who drafted Tom Brady.
Although I will say,
it's not a bad pick.
Not a bad pick.
Not a bad pick.
Auto pick there, but yeah, we've definitely had our fair share of those on these mock drafts where I don't even want to get frustrated with them sometimes.
Whoa, Johnny, breathe, buddy.
All right, so I went right after me went Nick Chubb, followed by Devin Funchess. Then I took Jamison Crowder. So a little bit of strengthening my wide receiver core there. That was followed by Ty Montgomery, Then Matthew Stafford came off by the creditor in the 9th round. I do like that value that he got from Matthew Stafford. We both expect Matthew Stafford to throw for at least 4,000 yards. Now, the touchdown is a little bit concerning. Hasn't gone over 30 touchdowns in quite a while. However, if there is a year, I do think it could be this year. You look at that offensive line, probably the best offensive line he's had since he came into the league. So he should have plenty of time to go ahead and make passes. That was followed by Kyle Rudolph, then Devontae Parker, then Delaney Walker came off. So a couple of tight ends came off the board. Then we had Robert Woods, Alan Hearns. Then the first defense just came off the board in the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 9th round, Travis.
Yeah, not something I would be suggesting anybody do. And you just look around him after these picks, and you're going to see some valuable assets come off the board, and you could have got those instead of a defense. Mm-hmm. Like Credit's comment here, he says he's double dipping with Tate. Matthew Stafford and Golden Tate, definitely going to have some volume for Golden Tate. So, not a bad deal. Golden Tate's not a huge touchdown guy, but still, you will get some yardage double dip there too, right. and the half point PPR double dip.
Yeah, I think that's.
I mean, yeah.
And although statistically double dipping isn't a true thing according to statistics, I still having that double it does when it does happen, it's the greatest feeling ever, and it's just devastating. You talk about a momentum shift in a fantasy football game, that is just devastating when you get that when you're playing someone and then they get that double dip on you. It's just like, oh no, anybody but that guy. All right, Travis. Oh my, I hate you, Travis. I hate you.
Well,
you get the tight end. I thought I could wait another round on. I love your back-to-back picks. Those were the two guys that I'd rather have Trey Burton than Jamison Crowder, but
yeah. So I'll just talk about Trey Burton here. Trey Burton ran. He was that backup for Zach Ertz in Philly, and when he came in, he averaged about 4 catches, 40 yards, and a touchdown in the few spot starts that he had. So he was good for those numbers. Additionally, he ran a majority of his stuff in the middle of the field, right? In the slot or in the middle of the field, right? Yeah. Well, when Mitchell Trubisky was targeting the middle of the field last year, Johnny, he averaged a passer rating well over 105. Mm-hmm. So they have brought in a guy they know that runs the middle to a guy they know that throws to the middle very well. And these young quarterbacks, what's their best friend? We say it over and over again. Tight end
position.
Yep. So I love the volume that Trey Burton suggests to get there with Mitchell Trubisky. I think that's the one throw in the field I'm confident beyond all measure that Trubisky can make, and that's over the middle and intermediate. So sign me up for shares. And then Andrew Luck. I continue to say that I do not think you will continue to get Andrew Luck in these late rounds.
Yeah.
But while he's here, I got to draft him at an incredible value in the 10th round for a guy that we think, if he's fully healthy, which we think he will be by week 1, is a top 5 potential quarterback.
Totally agree. Right after you went Chris Carson, your boy, followed by my boy, DJ Moore, and then Donta Foreman, then Nelson Aguilar, followed by the Los Angeles Rams defense, which I absolutely love the Rams defense this year. And then now Hannon is on the clock. Let's see where he goes. He's looking for. He's got quite the setup here. He can kind of.
Okay, so he snagged my handcuff.
Finally, you get something snagged from you by sniping people all night. Followed by Minnesota's defense, then Devonta Booker. Brett Johnson went Calvin Ridley.
Brett Johnson got a little bit of a suspect wide receiving core, in my opinion. Jordy Nelson, obviously an ex-Packer, near and dear to my heart. His metrics last year, his advanced metrics, have not been favorable. Yards per route run, things of that nature. He is slowing down big time. Calvin Ridley, we're not sure he's going to get any volume. Julio Jones doesn't even get volume. And that's Sarkisian offense. And then Des Bryant doesn't have a team. Keenan Allen, love the Keenan Allen pick. It had a bright future in the top 3 picks. Definitely like the Lamar Miller, but man, putting some shady wide receivers together there, Brett.
All right. And then Travis. So I went Corey Clement. And then I'm going to double dip here, just stack my running backs a little bit more. Naheem Hines, we've talked about him several times. Really like how this guy is shaping out and how that backfield is shaping out.
I just want to say, sorry, I didn't interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Kenny Stills was selected by credit here. I'm a big fan of that pick. The value you can get him in the what are we in the 14th? Oh no, the 11th.
11th round.
In the 11th round here, I love the value you can get with Kenny Stills. He could project to be better than Parker and actually lead this team in all the receiving yards. Landry's gone. That's well over a good amount of targets, a huge lion's share of targets that are gone now in Miami. And Kenny Stills could be in line for a lot of volume in Miami.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then you look at the connection between Tannehill and Kenny Stills before. And they've hooked up quite a bit. That sounds.
Whoa, Johnny with the inside information here.
Yeah, right. So I'm talking about the long bombs. They've definitely hit on quite a bit of those. So Kenny Stills again in the 11th round. I love that pick. Then we got Jared Goff coming off the board, followed by Sterling Shepard. I
love the Sterling Shepard pick. Hannon's stacked a couple exciting wide receivers here. I like the Devontae Parker pick, especially when you don't have to make him a guy you're counting on. You can stash him on your bench and see if he finally busts, because if Devontae Parker pops, if he finally does pop, Devontae Parker has all the elite size and speed to be a top wide receiver in this league. He's just got to put it together, and I like where you can get him. And same with Sterling Shepard. In that offense, he could see a elevated play this year. Big fan of that. Right after him, our buddy Brett Zabo takes Josh Doxson. Give me some. You got any kind of love for Josh Doxson?
Not this year. I don't. If he still had Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, I definitely would. I would actually like him a lot more than I would probably pick him over Devontae Parker, to be honest with you, if Kirk Cousins was still the quarterback, because he's a little bit more riskier of a quarterback. He's more willing to throw into double coverage or tight coverage, whereas Alex Smith is now the quarterback there. And I personally think that Jamison Crowder is the guy. I don't think this offense is going to be able to produce a lot of fantasy options. And so I think Jamison Crowder and a guy like Chris Thompson are going to be the two only realistic fantasy options that you're going to be able to go with in Washington. Some people like Robinson that came over from Seattle.
Richardson.
Richardson. Sorry,
yeah,
Paul Richardson.
Paul Richardson is a guy that people have liked as a sleeper pick this year. Not a big fan of some of those guys down in Washington, unless it's the tight end, whoever that may be. If Reed's hurt, if Reed's there, I love Reed, and the running backs. That's who we know Alex Smith does throw to over his career. So I just want to say I took Giovanni Bernard, who I think is another great value down here. We're not sold on Mixon yet. We're sold on his talent. We're not sold on him putting it together in Cincinnati just yet. And we're Mixon to go down or miss time or not be productive in the passing game. Giovanni Bernard would slide right in. We know what he's done when healthy. And then I took Kenny Golladay. Call it a handcuffing of my wide receiver, if you will. I took Marvin Jones earlier, but somebody is going to catch a lot of passes for a lot of yardage in Detroit. I mean, you look at the 9 years Stafford's been there, and they have been in the top 10 in passing attempts every single year. So they will throw in Detroit. That's why they have Stafford. They love to huck it. So one of these guys is going to come out the top dog. I like that I have one of them, unless, it's Credit's boy Tate.
Yeah.
Then I'm in trouble.
Then you're I just think, I like your strategy there. At this point, you're just throwing a dart at the board anyway. Might as well throw it at a sure offense. We talk about buying into systems. That's a system I like to buy into. We know what Golden Tate is. He's not the touchdown scorer. He's more of the yards guy. Kenny G showed some flashes. They do call him Mini Megatron over there in Detroit. So he could be the guy.
Yeah, and he's big and he's fast, and he's definitely got an opportunity to be the red zone monster that Stafford's been missing.
All right, then followed by Theo Riddick, then D.D. Westbrook, who I like D.D. Westbrook the most out of any of the Jags wide receivers. I think he has the potential. There was a lot of hype coming into last year about D.D., but he was injured. So, oh man, I just got Travis. I'm sorry to switch up. I'm up on the draft board here, and I just got a steal.
He just stopped Johnny dead in his tracks.
Give me Ben Roethlisberger in the 12th round. Are you kidding me? I'll take that all day of the week and twice on Sunday. Love me some Ben Roethlisberger this year.
Yeah, you know me. I'm a Ben Roethlisberger apologist, if you will. Big fan of his game. The thing is we've talked about it, though. He ends up going undrafted or dropped by a lot of the people, and then you're able to swoop him up. But I don't mind the pick at all, Johnny. I think, especially in the 12th, you don't have to give up much to get him, lock him in. And I think that, business as usual for Pittsburgh this year. And, they fired or moved on from Todd Haley, who basically ended up having to give the keys over to Ben Roethlisberger last year and let him run the no huddle. And as soon as they did that, they became more effective. So now they've got Ben's longtime quarterback coach, who was trash last year.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger?
He's
not talking about.
No, he's not talking about. Yeah, I think he was. Yes, he was trash in the beginning of the season, but then you look at the last 8 weeks, and
he was the second best fantasy quarterback in the last 8 weeks. So definitely, what I was saying there is after they gave the keys over to Ben, they succeeded on offense not only through him but through the no huddle. You look at him having his longtime quarterback coach there. I think they're doing that as a move to appease Ben in his final years in Pittsburgh. And I think it's a good look for that offense and getting that offense going.
Totally agree. And then I went around and I drafted a tight end. I got Ricky Seals. I believe that there's someone else that has to catch passes for Arizona. You look at this guy, he kind of popped off during the last
other team.
The other team. Let's hope not. I mean, that's one thing. I feel confident in either Sam Bradford or if Josh Rosen comes in. That's a guy that, he had 3 touchdowns over the last 4 games of the season. They really like him. So and at this point, there's not a lot of tight end depth there. My last kind of hope was that Trey Burton was going to fall to me and Travis had to snipe him. So, so pew, 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 pew. A little whisper.
Yeah, exactly.
Then after me went Tyler Eifert, and we've talked about Tyler Eifert again before. If he's on the field, he's a good tight end. However, he's never on the field. If there was somebody that is equivalent to Sam Bradford in a different position, that would be Tyler Eifert. When he's on the field, he's great, but when he's not on the field enough to warrant anything. And then credit took Kalen Ballage. I like that pick out of ASU, a third down back there that I think they're going to be playing a lot from behind in Miami. Then that was followed by Rashard Matthews, then Denver Broncos defense. Geronimo Allison comes off the board, who I've been rising on slowly. Then Greg the Leg Zerline, first kicker off the board, followed by Jack Doyle, Steven Gostkowski. So two kickers relatively close to each other. Then Houston's defense. Then you took Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a hedge in my bet. If Andrew Luck does need to be nursed a little bit further along, I got Dak Prescott there. And then maybe trade bait for somebody whose quarterback goes down or something like that. And then I took the Ravens mostly because the Ravens play the Buffalo Bills in week 1. I've been drafting them in almost every mock draft this year. I've been probably draft them as much as I can because playing Buffalo means playing no quarterback and potentially now no LaShawn McCoy, given what the NFL may do there. So we'll see. Sometimes it takes a long time for them to take their action. I.e. Ezekiel Elliott. His altercations were a lot longer before his suspension. So we'll just have to see if anything is going to happen to LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah,
I would just remember, even if LaShawn McCoy is not proven guilty in a court of law, that did not necessarily matter for Ezekiel Elliott. The NFL does not care about the U.S. legal system. They just don't. They have their own team of investigators and things.
The difference is in this situation is that LaShawn McCoy was in Florida while she was in not Florida. This happened. She was somewhere else in a different state. So I think it is a little bit different situation than the Ezekiel Elliott. The Ezekiel Elliott had
fair enough
photos and stuff. So I think it is kind of a little bit of a different situation there. But like you said, Baltimore, even if LaShawn McCoy plays, they're not going to, that's a good defense. You're looking at a rookie quarterback most likely, or a guy who hasn't played that much. And then let's see, who do I want here? I'm looking at defenses. I was going to go with the Saints, but then they got sniped there. So I'm looking at I'm going to go ahead and draft my kicker here. Any, mini, miny, mo. That's essentially how you should draft your kicker, right, Travis?
Yeah, that's actually a strategy that we'll detail in a podcast coming. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll go with Dan Bailey.
The eeny, meeny, miny, mo strategy. I'm just trying to spot check some of our friends' teams here. I think we had a bit of some fun here with our buddies coming in and doing this draft with us. We just want to thank them as we near the end of this thing.
And I'm going to go ahead and draft
Johnny
Carolina's
defense.
Sorry, I was looking at something. My bad.
Okay, credit, man. No love for the kickers. John Credit says delete the kicker position.
So what are your take? What's your take on this, Travis? Might as well, since Credit brought it up. Do you like having kickers in the game? Do you not like having kickers?
The leagues I've had the most fun with it are ones where you get a little bit more when they hit that 50-yarder. When you get the 40-yarder, you get 4, and then the other ones are 3. So when they structure it based on the yardage, that's been a fun thing for me. Obviously, that can get a little out of hand. You get guys that are just wacky and, kicking just 1,050,000-yard field goals. But for me, no, you got to keep the kicker, man. It's just part of the game. They can screw up. They can single-handedly screw up a game. They can single-handedly screw up your fantasy game. I love it, man. I love on the edge of your seat waiting for that field goal.
I think that there should be a movement where if kickers miss a field goal, they miss points for your team. Like I just think that's fair. I think quarterback or kickers are the only position that don't negatively affect your team, and I think that should change. But
no, not necessarily, because if wide receivers drop a pass, it doesn't. You don't get penalty.
But that's, to me, that's different. Like a kicker's only job is to kick a field goal, and if they can't do that, then what are you good for? So in a wide receiver, if they cough up the ball, if they fumble the ball, they get negative points. That's essentially, it's a turnover. A kicker, when they kick a field goal and they miss it, it's a turnover. The other team gets the ball. It doesn't matter if they were to kick a field goal on second down. It's a turnover. They don't get 2 more chances to kick a field goal. So that's the difference to me. I think it should be counted as a turnover and not as just a missed field goal. But that's just my personal opinion. All right, that was followed. So I took the Carolina Panthers, then the Arizona Cardinals went. followed by Robbie Gould, Kenneth Dixon, Darren Sproles, Chris Boswell, Tyler Lockett went in the 15th round. That's a great value right there. Michael Gallup, David Njoku, Matt Prater, and then you took Mason Crosby, your boy. All right, Travis, you want to just we got laces out. Totally true.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Johnny and Credit are over here bashing kickers. I want you guys to know, listening to our podcast and watching this on Mock Draft Monday, we love kickers here, all right? Don't take what they said. Like, that's not...
Well, I'm not saying... I like...
I want to speak on behalf of the Fantasy Whisperers here. Kickers are people too, man. I've had enough of the hate.
Yeah, that's what the crowd thinks.
Yeah, about you dogging on kickers, man. I'm going to remember that one. I'm going to post Johnny's scores when he wins because of some bogus 50-yarder, and he's going to love that he has kicker.
Right? It's totally going to change. All right, let's run down our team real quick here. Starting from the top, we got Le'Veon Bell, Christian McCaffrey, LaShawn McCoy were my first 3 picks. Then I went with Amari Cooper, Mark Ingram in the 5th, followed by Michael Crabtree, Randall Cobb, Julian Edelman in the 8th, Jamison Crowder, Corey Clement, and Naheem Hines in the 11th. I got Ben Roethlisberger all the way in the 12th. That's a steal right there. Then Ricky Seals-Jones, followed by Dan Bailey and Carolina Panthers. All right, Travis, tell the people what you got here.
Yeah, so I started with Melvin Gordon. I thought it was pretty awesome. He fell to me down here at the 12th spot, especially a guy that does 70% of his team's pass catching out of the backfield. Odell Beckham Jr., I love him, man. He can dance. He can catch. He's the man. Derrick Henry, Juju Smith-Schuster, another guy that can dance and catch.
Yep.
Love him. I'm going to have the best dancing wide receiving core this year for this team. That's what we're after, right? Touchdown dances. No. Marshawn Lynch.
Thing.
Yeah, exactly. Marshawn Lynch was my next guy. And he did some dancing last year, too. It's just dancing fools. Marvin Jones, followed by Aaron Jones. Cooper Kupp, I think, is a steal here, man. Like I said, he just gets so much volume in that Rams passing attack, and he's only going to get a year better under that Sean McVay system. Trey Burton, Johnny's favorite pick of mine in this draft, probably, just because he wanted him so bad. But Trey Burton, like I said, was a great stand-in for Ertz and fits the style of play that benefits Mitchell Trubisky. We have Andrew Luck. Obviously, we know what Luck can be if he can get on the field. Just get on the field, baby. Do it. Giovanni Bernard, I think another steal down here. We know what he can be. He's definitely got a passing game aspect to him in a half-point PPR. I love it. Kenny Golladay kind of hedged my bet with Marvin Jones here. Dak Prescott hedged my bet with Andrew Luck, just a little bit of insurance in case he needs to be nursed back a little bit more. Baltimore Ravens D, they play Buffalo week 1. Mason Crosby for the revamped Green Bay offense that will have Aaron Rodgers back fully healthy this year, so give me shares of that offense for sure.
All right, and that wraps up our Mock Draft Monday live.
Just going to give a big shout out to all our guys that helped us. All right. So Brett Johnson came in and gave us some help. John Credit, Chris Hannon, Brett Zabo, Matt Potvin, and of course me, Big Travy, and our boy Johnny Game Time Hicks on the other side. We really appreciate you guys watching this. We appreciate the guys helping us out. It was a lot of fun. We'd love to keep doing this. So like we said, if you put some comments down about which type of leagues or if you want to join, maybe private message us, let us know, and we'll see about continuing this on. This has been a lot of fun.
Yep, we really appreciate you guys. Catch us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. Check our YouTube channel out. We will have this Mock Draft Monday over on YouTube up tomorrow, and catch us live tomorrow on Facebook Live. If you go ahead and hit that subscribe button or like button, you will get an automatic notification when we go live. We got a cool topic coming. We're talking about those nasty RBBCs, running back by committees. We're going to sift through all the garbage and tell you where the fantasy gold is. Until next time, that's Big Travy, and I'm Johnny Game Time Hicks, and we'll give you that fantasy football fix. Take it easy. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Whisperers podcast. You can hear more from John and Travis on Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at TF Whisperers.